want to be able to answer any question that I can answer or help guide you in any way that I can guide you. Um, yeah. So, with that being said, is there anyone who'd like to go first? And by the way, you don't have to unmute. I see you, Lynn. You can put your comment in the little chat. If you don't want to talk, that's totally fine. Just let me know in the chat, like, I don't want to come up on camera, but I want to ask this, and I'll happily answer that question. Lynn.
Okay, I've got a bunch of questions, but I'll just do one at a time in case other people, I don't want to be piggy. All right, so first question is, I've got a lot of different people that I would like to serve. And from what I understand that you're saying is that we just need to choose one and start there.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me about the people that you want to serve. Give me some ideas.
Okay, I'm an energy healer and a life coach, and I serve people who are going through cancer treatment.
Okay. What are you serving them with? What is the problem that they are having, and what are you providing them? Is it energy services?
In part, I started off doing guided meditations for people going through chemo, probably 4 years ago now, and those seem to be really, really effective. So once in school that we were allowed to work with people who had cancer, I started doing that kind of work also. So I have a combination kind of package where people can just buy guided meditations that work with side effects of cancer.
Gotcha.
And then I can do energy healing to remove the chemotherapy from their energy field so that their kidneys and livers can then process and do what they're supposed to do.
Gotcha. Okay. Does your demographic have an age range?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
I think it's more a demographic of people who are looking beyond what modern medicine is offering, because what I'm offering dovetails with you're going through chemo or you're going through radiation, and I'm serving you while
Yes.
you made that choice.
Gotcha. Okay. And I think you're correct, right? Like, you wouldn't want to pigeonhole yourself into a specific age range because it is applicable across all age ranges.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of, I feel like that's less often that we see that, right? Like, a lot of times we see people speaking to moms, and it's like moms between 30 and 50, or dads, right? But yours doesn't have an age range. Okay, so your demographic is people who are going through cancer treatments
Mm-hmm.
and looking to meld, is that the right word?
Or
Together,
supplements.
yeah, supplement their Western medicine with the non-Western medicine.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that feel? It feels like it's pretty clear for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wherein lies the difficulty?
Um, I technically can't tell people what I can do because I'm not a medical doctor. Somebody asked if I did Reiki. I do not do Reiki. Reiki is a form of energy healing. I'm trained in 2 other forms of energy healing.
Mm,
And so I can't say anything that's a medical diagnosis.
sure.
So for example, I just recorded a meditation on, and I'm calling it working with neuropathy.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not saying I can heal neuropathy. I'm not saying you can feel better when I'm done with this
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's just working with neuropathy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Here's
So,
the meditation.
yeah, and I've been in the health and wellness space for a long time, and I know that you can't say anything about treating, healing, curing, diagnosing. Like, those are no words, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of your focus is going to be on the desired feeling that these people want to feel or
Okay.
have. So what I would do is I would start writing down a list of their desires, right? I mean, we can probably make some assumptions here, but and you probably know better than most of us, but like, they desire to what? Give me an example.
They want to feel supported. They want to feel confident in the choices that they're making.
Mm,
They want to feel relief.
relief. Yeah.
They want to know, like, okay, so my aunt is currently going through chemo and had neuropathy, which is why I made that guided meditation. But she, I did a brief healing session for her, and she's not having any problems.
Mm, that's lovely.
And it is. But the problem is I can't say that in a testimonial,
Mm,
because that is, again, saying that I'm clearing up a medical condition when I can't do that because I'm not a doctor.
I think a lot of your marketing is going to focus on feelings, like, and not like sick and not sick, but it's more so like, I was feeling overwhelmed and anxious before, and
Yeah.
now after working with Lynn, I feel calm and I feel relief. And so, um, you might be able to ask for testimonials, and then you could just let them know, I might need to change some of the verbiage of your testimonial just to be, I don't know what you want to call it, correct.
Yeah.
um, in my language. So I would really focus on desired feelings and how you're taking people from one state of feeling to another state of feeling. Does that feel like it is achievable?
Yeah, that
Or-
helps me reframe it a bit better.
okay, awesome.
Awesome.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay. Can we come back around to you for your other questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Who has a question? Thank you, Lynn.
Mhm.
You can unmute, you can raise your hand, whatever you want to do. Hi, Mitzi.
Hi. I was just wondering, I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Okay.
So my audience basically is burnout 9-to-5ers. I'm transitioning to lifestyle from straight up MMO with Legendary on the back end.
Okay.
And I found the August challenge extremely helpful.
Okay.
Like, I can actually do this.
Yay.
But my audience, it's kind of, I don't want to say an age range per se. I mean, I'm a pseudo retired grandma.
Okay.
So, but I know what it's like to be a burnt out 9-to-5er because I'm a surviving one.
Yep.
And, but I also kind of want to incorporate like wannabe retirees in there. I don't know if that's the same as a burnt out 9-to-5er, but how would you go about making that a demographic?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it actually is two different demographics, and here's why. Because, sorry, what desires does a burnt out 9-to-5er have?
To get out.
Okay. Well, then I guess I would argue to say that a pseudo or want to be retired person also has the same desire.
I know, exactly. So it's like, I'm kind of speaking to like 40 to 60-year-olds, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that somebody who's 26 or somebody who's 75, but my primary target is burnt out 9-to-5ers. People know what that feels like.
Sure. Yep. So I like the generalization of burnt out 9-to-5ers because that could be a 25-year-old. They could be in the workforce for 5 years and be burnt out.
Yeah.
Or it could be a 65-year-old who's been in the workforce for 10 years because they raised
And
kids
still has to work until they're 95.
Yes. So, and that conversation really does hit a lot of people in a lot of age ranges. So I think that you have a lot of variability in talking about those two things. I wouldn't hone in on like wannabe retirees. I wouldn't hone in on like specifically talking to 20 somethings or 30 somethings.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
you're right.
Okay.
That like burnt out feeling
Mm-hmm.
from working is
Mm-hmm.
general enough where you're going to get the whole range of people.
You know, because I know when I was burned out, I'd come home from work and all I'd do is sit there and scroll. I mean, and something is going to jump out at me that is like, oh, yeah, that's me. I identify with that for sure.
For
So,
sure. For
all right.
sure.
Well, perfect. Thanks for the
Yeah, you're welcome.
thought process on that.
You're welcome. I had another thought. It left my brain. It'll come back to me. I'll let you know. Thanks, Mitzi. Who else has a question? I know. Oh, Beth. Hi, Beth.
Hello.
Hello.
So I think I'm kind of in the same boat as Lynn. But you always say, Gwen, know who your demographic is, know who you're talking to. So that's where I'm all over the board.
Okay.
Of where I am,
Okay.
because how my life has changed. So I think my demographic is what I am now. I'm a widow now. I'm over 50. I'm concentrating on myself. I'm getting healthy, and that's who I want to focus on.
Okay.
But I don't know if I want to limit that, because I cared for my husband for 10 years with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. So, and I used all natural products. I still use all natural products all through. That's how I cared for him. And just like Lynn, I can't come out and say, oh, this is what you should use. And so we have to be compliant on everything. So that's where I feel. And I feel when I had my old Instagram, and I just created a new one. It'll be 2 weeks on Saturday, and I'm very impatient. Because I'm not growing or anything. And I feel like I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall, because I don't know where to hone in at.
Sure. Let's work backwards.
Okay.
What are you promoting or selling?
I do Young Living.
Okay.
So all the natural products. And right now I am concentrating on what we have is the 14-day reset.
Okay.
That covers everything.
And the 14-day reset, is that supplements? Is it like what?
It is supplements. Yeah, it's supplements, but it is eating healthy, moving your body at least 30 minutes, and hydration, drinking half of our body weight in water. So it covers everything.
Okay. So here would be my question.
Okay.
Does Young Living have a landing page for the 14? Sorry, I forget what it's called already.
Yes, yes, and I created it. So I have that in my profile, in my bio, and I talk about it. Here's more info. Click here for my landing for more info.
Okay. Does Young Living I know you have your own landing page.
Yep.
But does Young Living have their own on their own website?
No. They have a reset box.
Okay.
That has the supplement in it. But then this is a side where a group of people got together and started this 14-day reset with the supplements.
Okay, got it. So if we work backwards, we would want to look at what is the 14-day reset going to get people? What problems are they coming in with, and how are they going to leave feeling?
Yes. And I have tons of testimonies.
Amazing. So if you know that, and we can kind of we can guess how it's going to feel after 14 days of eating right and taking the supplements and doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, drinking water, all that stuff, right? They're going to feel phenomenal, like a new person. But the hard part is targeting a very specific demographic. Like, you could talk to anybody with that, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Anyone from kids kids are doing. We have testimonies on kids all the way up to somebody in their 80s.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me ask you this. Who do you want to talk to?
I go back and forth on that because I think I'm talking to who I am right now. Somebody that didn't have time to care for themselves because they were caring for a loved one, or maybe they were a busy mom or something and they always put themselves on the back burner. Now they could be an empty nester, they could be a widow. So now we're going to concentrate on ourselves. And that's what I've been doing. And I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Yeah. It's not right or wrong. It's neither. It's fine, but I think it will be very, very hard to have if you don't really nail down like, okay, this is exactly who I want to help. Therefore, I know exactly what their problems are. Therefore, I can talk about how what I have is going to help them. So I know that I know what your story is, and I feel like you can tell your story, right? And our stories are so powerful in our marketing and just so powerful because people feel like they relate to you. But I don't want your story to then be the only, I'm only talking to widowers. I'm only talking to people who've had to care for their spouse, and I think that you can take that and widen it up and talk to. Do you want to talk to women or men or both?
Both. It seems that I've been helping people go through like the grief process, and I have my own empowering widows naturally group I started.
Okay.
So there's 2 men in that group.
Okay.
But are friends.
So this is just a deciding factor for you. Like, am I going to stick with talking specifically to widows? Or am I just going to talk to people who have not prioritized their health and are now realizing that they want to, or they desire to feel better? Because those 2 avenues will look different in how you talk to people.
Right. Okay.
Neither is wrong. Just a decision. Obviously, widowers are going to be a much smaller demographic and maybe a little bit harder to get yourself out there because you're not going to have as many people.
Okay. Good point. Yep.
So it might be simpler, and you can still tell your story when you're telling your story about where you were, what you went through, what you didn't like, and where you are now. Right? And so if you talk to people who haven't prioritized self-care and who are now realizing that they are wanting to, you're going to get some widowers in there. You're going to get some people who are caring for sick parents or sick loved ones. So you're going to cast a wide net, and you're going to get those people in who will really relate to your story anyway. Does that help?
That does. It just narrows it down better for me.
Yeah. So. And then just stay in your lane.
That's hard to stay in your lane.
It is hard. You're going to have a lot of conversations with people because, and you know this, and especially being in the health and wellness space, people want to tell you how they feel. People want to talk about how they're feeling because that's important. It's why they're coming to you. So you'll be able to share your story a lot in those conversations and connect with people there. But I would definitely keep it a little bit more broad if it were me, and be able to pull more people in that way.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Who else has a question? Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. It's funny how you can like relate to what each person shares. Like throwing spaghetti is totally me. I started with Legendary, so I'm in the 20 online. And honestly, Gwen, you are the only person that I still follow from there. I just like, I didn't like the I mean, a lot of the big wigs, I didn't feel the integrity being shared in the
Yeah.
videos. So I will say, like, you're the,
Yeah.
and so I was like, I want to follow in that way. Because I'm also a yoga and meditation teacher and have taught like several workshops in that as well. So I'm like, you know, the energy that you feel from people is really important. So I just like, I don't know how to, I guess, narrow down who I want to talk to. So
Okay.
I'm going to be 45 this month. So I'm like, do I want to talk to people over 40, like Generation Xers? Like, I feel like I feel like that generation still hasn't quite grasped, like, how can we take advantage of the internet and actually monetize it? So I'm like, do I want to steer towards that? I'm also a homeschooling mom. So do I want to incorporate, like, I'm all over the place. I don't know how to narrow down who I'm actually going to talk to. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk on a couple. Are you promoting Legendary? Is that what you're promoting as your offer?
Yes. Yes.
How do you feel about it? You love it?
I loved the course. I will say
Okay.
I loved the course and I got so much from it. Like I learned stuff that I didn't even know existed before. I've never been in marketing before, ever.
Yeah.
So what I learned, I was really excited about. And I was like, wow, like, and I did my funnel like by myself through stop and start of the whole, videos. So I was pretty impressed with everything. And then to be honest, like I took a long break from actually implementing it. And part of it was because I didn't like certain ways that it was being promoted, I guess, from other people, like on different socials. So I was kind of lost. I was like, I don't know how to do this.
Okay.
But now, like, I'm back. I feel that passion to start it again, and I'm also big about like manifestation, like your mind and power of your mind and stuff like that. So I don't know how to tie it all together.
Okay. So give me a couple of different demographics that you're thinking about. Like who top of mind, the first person that you think about you want to help, who would that be?
It would be like struggling like moms or women, like maybe wanting to homeschool and can't because they don't have the extra income, people in debt. Again, the older kind of generation of, do we know how to monetize the internet? I don't know. See?
So that's 3 different demographics.
It's just all over the place.
Which is why I ask you these questions. It's helpful to take it out because then you realize like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I need to get clear on who it is they want to help. So let me ask you this. When you decided to jump into this digital marketing training, why did you do that?
For me, it was because we needed extra income. I was tired of the struggle, tired of like debt and like never getting ahead, living paycheck to paycheck, that kind of thing. So I wanted to learn how I could like take a hold of that and like, kind of take my power back from that,
Were you homeschooling already at that time? Have you always homeschooled?
I have, because my daughter's 7, so she was like, I put her in like a private pod at the time, but I had to pull her out because we couldn't afford it anymore. So that's kind of what like started it too. And similar to your story, like she was in gymnastics, she was in piano, she was in dance, and had to limit those as well because we weren't able to, support it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. The reason why I ask you that is because I feel like we are so strongly attached to the reasons why we start something and can easily talk about our story. We can talk about the reason why I started, the reason why I took action, what I was tired of, what I wanted that I didn't have. Like all those things come so easily when you're talking about it that to me, it seems like that would be your passion. That would be your area. Like I just want to help people figure out, parents figure out like how to not be so tight with money, how to have the flexibility and freedom to allow our kids to do an extracurricular activity if we want to and not have to go home and go, okay, what are we going to have to give up if our kid wants to do this, right? And so because that's a lot of my space as well, I know that it's huge. There's a lot of people in that situation, and it's our people that are our age range. So I just turned 40 this year. So this like it's a weird age range with us, sorry, because we've got like these kids that are usually a little bit older and now they're starting to play sports, but and we grew up with the internet, like it came out when we were around, and so we know it, but most of us use it to pass the time. And so I feel like that's a really good conversation for you and something that you could talk about a lot. Like, hey, I figured out how to stop using social media to, make me feel better about what was going on or temporarily relieve the feelings that I was having, and instead permanently change the way my life was going so that I could, not scroll hole at the end of the night. Does that feel,
Yeah.
good?
Yeah. Very much.
I feel like that's your demographic.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? It's you, however long ago that was. Yeah. Does that help?
No, it helped a lot. Yeah, it helped me focus. Like, focusing on why I started helps me focus on who I want to help. So
because you understand it, and then you can take your content in that direction where you know who you're talking to. If you ever forget, you're like, wait, who was I a year ago when I was scrolling social media just for crap signals? Who was that person and what was she looking for? Okay, now I can show up and post and talk to that person. Right, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
So I would do the same thing
Instead
that
of
I think,
feeling like I'm talking to like 10 different types of people. Yeah.
which it's hard not to, because there are so many relatability, like the spokes almost, cross over each other.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And we're gonna pull in a wide range of people. I had someone comment today, or maybe yesterday, on a reel, and his comment was, weren't you the one who was posting all that digital marketing crap a couple months ago? And I replied back to this guy and I was like, by digital marketing crap, do you mean like I was helping people learn how to make extra money online? Is that what you mean?
Right.
So that's a man who I don't typically drive my content to men, but they're watching my stuff. So you're gonna get all the people, but I think really specifically honing in on this previous version of you, like a year ago, will allow you to resonate with a lot of people.
Thank you.
Feel good?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks for asking. Next question. Lynn? Keep them coming.
Okay, so from what you just said about the desired feeling for my clients, looking at the bio. So for Instagram, so Lynn Sullivan, Holistic Cancer Support.
Love it.
And then under that, I help cancer patients go from overwhelmed and anxious to confident and calm.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
And then I'm thinking for my freebie is maybe a short, I hate the word masterclass, but a short thing on how to create your own healing team.
Ooh.
So, if you're going through any kind of diagnosis, you want to have your doctors on board, you want to have your dietitian on board, you want to have your spiritual person, whether it's somebody through church or your psychic person, you want to have a body worker, and so help them think broad. Okay, do I have somebody for each of these categories? And if I don't, where can I find them?
So my question for you would be, if the goal of our freebie is to get people on our email list and also eventually have them hire us or purchase from us, how will you redirect them to you?
Well, one thing I'm thinking of is once they finish doing the workshop, give them a 20-minute consultation. Because I ran 2 holistic cancer support summits last year. So I interviewed more than 20 people in the field who work with people going through cancer treatment. and I learned so much.
Lovely.
And so I might not be directing them to me.
Okay.
I would be a resource
Yeah.
to, because I don't teach yoga for people going through cancer, but I know someone who does.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that is, I love that team. I was just talking about this as a strategy with someone who helps aspiring authors. And I was like, I just had this great idea for you to be the hub of a team. So like, what an author needs to start writing a book, and you can be the recommender to this person and refer them out. And you can have an agreement with that person that is a referral agreement, like maybe there's a 5% kickback or 10% kickback or whatever, right? And you're creating like this whole team of people based on who the person is coming in and what their needs are, of people that can help them. And I think that's like a beautiful circle of life moment for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, if you guys are like, if you have ideas or something pops up, so throw it in the chat or raise your hand or unmute. And I'm sure we all love, helpful input and feedback if something pops up. Yeah, that bio is really transformative, very helpful for people to understand exactly who you are, what you do, and how you help them.
And you're saying to only put one link to that thing.
To your freebie, to whatever you're giving away.
Okay.
Yeah. With the goal of building an email list, right? And especially because in your line of service, I mean, you might teach a free masterclass training. Maybe you're going to Canada and you're teaching one up there and you want to let your people know. And you just happen to have an email list of people that might be in that area, or you're teaching one online and you want to invite them. Like, I think, opt-in page where they would then get on your email list, but also be sent that guide of how to build your team.
Okay.
You can have more than one link. It's not that you can't.
Okay.
But I do believe that people get easily overwhelmed. And, just from what I experienced is I only had one link on my entire profile for over a year. And that worked really well for me. So I don't think it limits you, because I think if people like you and they feel your energy and they want to follow you, they will, and they will want to hear from you. So
because they can have the opportunity to go to my website and see the products that I recommend and the books that I recommend and all that other kind of stuff. And then I can also, once I get to writing a newsletter on a consistent basis, then they'll hear from me twice a month or once a week or whatever, and I will make other suggestions and offers.
yes. The great thing about email, and I know what you said is so funny, like once I get to writing a consistent newsletter, people forget about us so quickly. Like, how many people have you hit follow? And then like, if you go through your followers, you're like, why am I following this person? Right? I don't know even who that is or why I started following them. So I think just showing up and with our content and even with our emails and just being in their feed, they'll see your name, they'll see what you do. It's just this psychological trigger, not psychological, that's not what I meant, human psychology trigger for people to remember and keep you top of mind. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. I love it. Beth, shoot.
Okay, so what is the best way to have reels, or I know in our stories we say our personal things, we talk and just like we're talking as friends in our stories, but to get engagement, I guess, on ours, what's the best tips? What should we do more often to pull all those engagements in?
On your reels, like on the posts and the reels that you make?
Yes.
Okay. So engagement happens because of a variety of things. And I truly believe that one of the biggest things is telling your story. And I don't mean like a 10-minute, like no one wants to listen to a 10-minute story. They just want to hear, oh, I'm just like Beth. I've been there. I've gone through what she's gone through. I relate to Beth. Now I see Beth on the other side of this thing, so I know what's possible for me. So every time you tell your story in just short little tiny blips, people see the possibilities, and then they start to go, okay, I wonder how Beth can help me.
Okay.
So one part of this whole thing is telling our story. And our story can look like, here's where I was then, and here's where I am now, right? It can look like the hero format, where we're saying, kind of, here's where I was then, and here's where I am now, but it's like a 4-step process that you take people through. So here's where I was, what I didn't like about it, action that I took, here's where I am now, or what I'm on my way to doing. Does anyone need me to say that again? Here's where I was, what I didn't like about it, the action that I took, here's where I am now, or here's where I'm on my way to. Because if you were trying to help people, let's just say, learn how to make money online, but you haven't made money online yet, you can talk about how you're on the way to building a profitable online business. You have learned the skills to support you in building a profitable online business. Same thing if you were healing, but not healing people based on what you've learned, and maybe you're not 100% healed yet, or whatever that looks like, right? You might not talk about, I'm fully healed and I'm magical and come see me, but you could talk about how you're on your way to finding yourself. You're on your way to feeling better in your body, right? So there's a way to say results without having to be the end all be all result. Does that make sense?
And
Yeah.
you do this all like in a reel, and you're talking. So you're not using trending audio, you're using, I'm talking. I'm telling you, like 2
Well-
years ago, I was caring for my husband. So, but now here I am now.
You could be. That's an
Okay.
option. Okay. So one way to tell your story is literally to get on camera, face to camera, tell your story, talk to the camera.
Right.
Another way could be, do you know what a carousel post is?
Yep.
Right. So you could tell your story over multiple pictures in words. You want to have a call to action in your carousels, like whether that's, to head to the caption, to read something else, or just to message you and say hi. Like you want to really ask for engagement. That's how the engagement comes. You open yourself up, you allow yourself to be heard and seen, and at the same time, you're also allowing the people watching you to feel heard and to feel seen. Okay, so you're making these little connections. Every time you show up, little tiny breadcrumb, if anybody was on my live in the Creators Corner today. Every time you show up, every time you talk, every time you open your mouth, every time you message somebody back on a DM, little tiny breadcrumbs. And that's what's going to help people feel seen and heard, and they're going to want to engage with your content. I will also say this, because I think this is important too. The story is important, but what's important about the story is that your ideal audience can see themselves in the story. Right? Because no one cares really about your story. They care about their story. So if it's relatable to them, that's when they tune in. So we almost have to think about that. And that's why I say, write out all those desires. Because if you know what your ideal audience wants, you can talk about that in your story because it's probably what you wanted or want. If you know what their problems are, getting in their way of having that achievement, you can talk about that as your problems and things that got in your way. connects the circle for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's so many other types and styles of content, and you'll see it in the guide. You know, we can relate, we can joke around, we can show our personality if that's who you are, and I think it's important just to kind of let people in. You know? Okay. Thank you, Beth. Any other questions? Does Lynn have another question for me?
Of course I do. Okay, so I absolutely love what you're doing now with the coffee chat.
Thank you.
And so I'm like, okay, now how can I do that? Because I don't drink coffee. So I'm going, okay, it's either going to be, I have to be like afternoon tea or a tea talk or something like that. You know, or spilling the tea on what energy healing is.
So what's funny about coffee chat is, and I might have told you this, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I got that idea from someone else who did morning message. And I was like, oh, I really like, she shows up, she does a morning message every day. Now, she didn't invent the morning message. I could have gone on and done morning message too, but I was like, how can I make this my own? Coffee chat. I like alliterations, morning message, coffee chat. That's just my quirk. But it flows. And so you could, I mean, you could do anything. Energy report, daily energy report. I don't know. Like, like a weather channel, but you have a green screen and it's an energy report. Today, you can expect. The other thing that you could do, I don't know if you're into, you know, pulling cards and stuff like that. That sometimes makes it very easy to have a piece of content. Like maybe you get on and it's morning message, but you're pulling a card and you're just sharing the energy of the card with everybody else in the day. And people will eat that up. People will love that. Whenever I pull a card on my stories, people are like, oh, what deck is that? And oh, you know, what does that mean? Can you send me a picture? So I think people really like that, especially people who are drawn to what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I didn't completely read everything, but you were saying 1 reel and 3 stories every day.
Yeah. So the goal, especially if you're just starting out, at least just go, okay, I'll post 1 reel or 1 post a day. And then ideally you want to show up in your stories 3 times a day.
Explain to me stories, because I still don't get that part.
Yeah. You know where they are in Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, this is like my analogy for this. I talk about this all the time, so I'm sorry for those who have heard it, but I picture stories as driving by people's houses at nighttime and they have the lights on and I'm going, okay, what's in their house? Like, what are they having for dinner? What's on their TV? Oh, I've been watching that series. Like, it's creepy, right? But we all do it. We're all like super curious about what's going on in everybody's house. Oh, I like their paint color. Like, you know, I don't know. But it's like a peek into someone's life that's not so curated. So it allows you to kind of like put your guard down a little bit. You know, I show up in my leopard bathrobe with my hair that's a mess in the morning. Like, that's how everyone wakes up, okay? You're not fooling me if you wake up with a face full of makeup. Like, I know that. So I'm going to show up that way because this is real. I am not going to go get ready to go talk on my stories. So I just am real, raw, honest, not put together, just kind of wherever I am in the day, morning, afternoon, night. Sometimes I forget an afternoon post, you know? So stories only live for 24 hours. They go away and then they're gone. So that's kind of fun because every day it's like a new adventure with Lynn. Like, ooh, what's Lynn up to today, you know? And so in the morning, I just greet my people. Say good morning, hello. Sometimes I share what's on my to-do list for the day. Again, people are nosy. Yeah, that's my morning. My afternoon is usually like a behind the scenes. So if it were you, Lynn, you'd be like, maybe you're working on putting together a meditation. So you just are taking a picture of your video recording and talking about the meditation that you're putting together, and you're so excited to put it together. The evening is a gratitude post for me, where I find something that I'm grateful for in the day, and I share my nightly bedtime routine, which is funny enough, it starts the same way that my day starts, or I guess my nighttime routine is the same as my morning. Like I go to bed with a cup of tea and it's dark out. Whereas in the morning I wake up and it's dark out, but I have my coffee. So, and people just, I think people just like to feel like similar to you, that they're not an anomaly, that there's other people out there like them. And again, they feel seen and heard. Does that help?
Yeah. So if I were to do something like pulling a card, or I kind of like this energy report concept, that might be like a once a week thing.
Like on your stories, you mean?
Well, or if I do a reel about them, or I don't know.
I mean, you could. I mean, here's the thing, your feed, your energy, your options. So if it's too much, if doing it every single morning feels like too much for you, then maybe you pick a specific day. You're like, Fridays are energy report days. And that for a fact that you're going to make a reel, including that conversation. Coffee chat is simple for me. It doesn't require a lot of effort. I'm not usually teaching. It's just kind of like a either inspiring, motivational, or like ass kicking that people didn't ask for, but they get anyway.
Yeah.
So however it feels best to you would be the best way to show up. I know that's a horrible answer.
Well, and is part of it, looking at your numbers and your responses and that kind of thing, and seeing.
Am I frozen or is Lynn frozen? It's Lynn. Come back to us, Lynn. I'm not going to answer you until I know that you're back, because I don't want you to miss my answer. Do we have, oh, there you are. Okay, keep going. Yay. Looking at your numbers, yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so looking at your numbers, and is there a way to distinguish, which thing is getting the people to click on the link?
Yeah.
So that you can see what's you should put more time into, and that kind of stuff.
For sure. And so let's just use my coffee chat, for example. I think people know me now from my coffee chats, which is, I didn't intend for that to be, but people will message me and say, Gwen, I really look forward to your coffee chats every morning. I'm like, that's really lovely. And so it just has become something that people stick around for, and people are excited for. So usually my coffee chats do well, not always as great as everything else, but I look at like how many people are commenting on that post, how many people are here, are liking it, are sharing it. A lot of people will share my coffee post, my coffee chat post. So to answer your question, you can look at all sorts of insights, and you won't really have any concrete evidence until you do like at least 30 days of a consistent strategy.
Okay.
So if you were only doing once a week energy reports, in 4 weeks, you really only have 4 posts to see like how that's doing. Not great insights. Like you really would want to have a lot more than that. Maybe 90 days worth. But if you're doing it every single day and that's how you start your day, well, in a month, you're going to have enough insights from Instagram specifically. So you can see how many people have liked this, how many people have shared it, how many have commented. It will tell you how many people have followed you. I think you can see, you can see link clicks, who went to your profile because they watched this reel, who clicked on your link because they watched this reel. So you can see all of that behind the scenes. But it does take a little bit of time to kind of really have a concrete idea of what that looks like wholly. Yeah.
In other words, patience.
Patience, trust in the process. Yeah. And you know, I will say that Instagram is weird right now. Instagram's just weird right now. There's no rhyme or reason. Things have shifted since the beginning of the year. Instagram's algorithm has been like this. So I always tell people, like, yes, know your demographic. Yes, know what their desires are and speak to them in your content, but also don't get so caught up in these numbers that, you know, if you felt like you created a reel that was so helpful and really, really good and it flopped, doesn't mean that you're not really, really good and that nobody likes you. It just means that Instagram was moody and maybe didn't push it out in front of your ideal audience. That's okay. You have tomorrow and you can try another one. And it's not the end of the world. At the same time, once you've been doing that, you know, I've had clients come in who have been posting like that for 1,000 posts and they're like, I'm just not getting anywhere, Gwen. Like my messaging, I don't know, my reels are all over the place. What that usually is they're all over the place. They don't know their demographic. They're not consistent in their messaging. So I think just really nail those beginning pieces and that will help you navigate the rest of the way.
And I think all of us have had the, you know, honoring that you're just picking one thing for right now.
Yes.
And then as we grow, we can expand.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's too much to try and it's like, I can imagine what having triplets is like, but that's what I imagine that's like too much, one at a time, please. I can't do 3 at a time. I mean, you figure it out, right? But trials and tribulations. So yeah.
Cool.
What else we got? We probably have time for one more question if there is another question. Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
I was just wondering because I also really loved your coffee chat. So I was like, oh, how can I make it my own? And I started mindful reflection.
Ooh.
But I was, yeah, but I'm asking because should I like have enough of a following before I implement something like that? Because even though I tried to keep my mindful reflections kind of focused on like more like why do we struggle in our situations, like thinking about struggling rather than actually taking action to change them. But I ended up getting like spiritual account followers and inspiration account followers. So I'm like, should I build my following first before I kind of try to implement my own uniqueness in my content?
I don't think that there is a wrong way to do it. And also all these spiritual accounts are probably parents or moms behind them somewhere, right? So applicable still. The hard thing I think with mindfulness, meditation, spiritual inspiration posts, especially when you don't have a big following, is that it's inspiring, but like it doesn't make anyone take action. You know, unless it really lands and it's an easy share for someone. Like, you know, you see the quote tiles. There's a bunch of mindset entrepreneur social media categories who just post quotes. They're just inspirational quotes in a reel with music behind it. That is an easy shareable video because it's just a quote. There's no person behind it. There's no motive of like, click the link in my bio. It's a very easily shareable video. So you could do one quote a day, one mindfulness inspiring quote a day where you have no call to action in that post. It is literally just showing up and sharing what's on your mind or a quote that you think is helpful. But I would try and make sure it's relatable to your demographic.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask was when you're like building your following, like so far, like most of my call to action has just been like follow for more, follow for more, follow for more. Like I haven't really been promoting my link. I'm just like like when you kept talking about like strategy, I'm like, okay, I have no strategy. So then I finally like sat down and tried to build a strategy, and I was like, okay, well, like I want to do maybe an educational post where I like give them something, you know, a piece of information that they don't know. So it was like, you know, different points. And then I was like, maybe an entertainment or an inspiration, or I don't know, but it's always been like follow for more. But like, I'll be honest, there's not a lot of followers.
Okay.
Like, I'm that person that's like, oh my God, I really like that reel I just did. And then like, you know, I get nothing from it. And I'm like, okay, what did I just do wrong? But
So I will tell you that when I first started, I did not ask for follows. I went straight for the guttural. I was like, click the link in my bio. Like I had no idea what I was doing. None. I guess at some point it worked. I did start to then come around and be like, okay, I have no followers right now. So maybe I should like, whoa, let's pedal back a little bit and let people get to know me first and before I ask them to click the link in my bio. So again, I don't think you can mess it up, right? I don't think you can unless it would be really hard to, you know, post and never have anyone see your content, post and never have anyone follow you. Like it will come. But I really, especially now, I think this has changed from a year ago. I really like my follow me statement to be very specific. Follow me if you're a mom and you're looking for this. Follow me if you know, give them a reason. Instead of just follow me for more, they're like, follow me for more.
Yeah.
Right? We have to like, hi, it's right here. It's blinking. It's flashing. I'm telling you, it's right here. Like we have to just tell people. Right? It's not intuitive enough for them.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you guys feel? Mitzi's like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I have one little comment on what we were just talking about is before I kind of shifted gears, I was doing this daily thing called the 𝗵𝗟𝗀𝗃 because I'm a coffee addict. And so I called it the 𝗵𝗟𝗀𝗃, your daily coffee scene.
Love it.
And I put it in a highlight on my Instagram account, and they're all still there. But I was like, you know what? These are good, and somebody someday is gonna like these, so I'm keeping them.
That's right.
And I put a quote like, there's one on there I just read, Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
You know, a lot of different things. Some are just, you know, funny coffee ones, but yeah, there's a lot, like just one quote a day, and I used to do those in the mornings. So
I think that's great.
I mean,
You know, we often overcomplicate the message, don't you think? We often think like, oh, this has to be mind blowing and it has to be something people have never seen before. And that is not true. That friggin' quote about Wayne Gretzky, like that's been shared 6 gajillion times across the internet. But someone will come to it and be like, oh, yeah, she's right. You know? It's easy to overcomplicate it. It really doesn't. It's simple. It is. I didn't say it was easy. The concept is simple. Finding your groove is more difficult. Yeah. But that's why you're all here. So, yay. All right. Do you guys feel like onward ho? Now you have the social sizzle. Now you can take it and implement all the things. If you have questions, message me on Instagram. Email me. Whatever you like. I answer all my emails. If I miss it, just shoot me another one. Probably an accident. Or my kids like clicked on my emails and I didn't know. But yeah, I'm super grateful for you guys. And I really hope that this has been helpful in addition to what you're going to be working through in the next couple of weeks, months, however far you take it. Yeah. Any last words?
No, I just want to say thank you, Gwen. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
It's been a pleasure meeting you too. I'm really glad you're here.
thank you so much, Gwen.
You're so
You have
welcome.
helped me beyond what I could imagine. Thank you so much.
I'm always here. I'm always here.
Yes, thank you. You're actually the reason why I started again, because I saw integrity and honesty. So thank you.
There are some of us still out here. You guys
Yes,
are
for
awesome
sure.
right here.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you. And I appreciate you being here and showing up and answering all of our questions, because it was a good mix of questions and things to think about.
Yeah, for sure. I think we can all kind of glean insights, even though our businesses might be different and we're doing the same thing. So, hey. All right. Well, I will send out the recording just in case you want to go back and watch. But for anybody who couldn't be here live, it's coming to you in the email. And you know where to find me. I love you all. I'm super grateful for you. And thank you for being here. See you guys later.